Okay. This is indeed a Hideo Kojima game. Some might say the Hideo Kojima game. Let's enjoy. Look at that 1998 water effect. Beautiful. Freaking swirly.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by Next Generation Special Forces, being led by members of Foxhound. They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker.
Do you think those are fish in the background?
As hostages.
Those weird swirly things in the background?
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike.
Submarine went through a school of cod off Alaska or something.
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub. And then we'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
Now I know they'll like put Navy SEALs in torpedo tubes and then just open the tubes for them to swim out. I don't know if these mini subs exist.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist.
Oh shit, get ready, roll call.
Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
The man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Yeah! Metal Gear Solid! We're playing it! At last, it's back on PC, I guess you could put it. Out of the 3 Metal Gear games that GOG brought out onto PC, this one makes the most sense, since Metal Gear Solid did have a PC port quite a long time ago. Like, I remember my friend had this on the PC in like 1999 or 2000, maybe 2001. But anyway, like very soon after the original classic came out in 98. So at last we get to play it. If you guys don't know, I freaking love Metal Gear for all its silliness and also all of its legit goodness. It's an amazing series. I absolutely adore it. So I'm so happy to get to play this. It is funny because I told this already on the New Year's episode. My nephew really wanted to play this game, so we did a bunch of work to get that working about a year or so ago to get the PlayStation version of it working. We got to enjoy it. Turns out, if you just waited a year, it's available on PC now. So, but that's still all good fun. It's just great that everyone gets to play it again. Or even more people, the larger audience this can reach. It's fantastic. As far as I can tell, the controller support is very good on this as well. Although, let me just really quickly see if my mouse is... Okay, I'm now controlling with the mouse, so gotta be careful not to bump the mouse. That'll also make things go off. Gotta only use my controller here. Now, before we jump into the main game, I'm going to do a little bit of prefacing here, because there's a bunch of lovely, like, early extra stuff here. If you guys are familiar with the story of Metal Gear and whatnot, feel free to scroll on to where the actual game starts. But first we're going to really quickly look at the extra and watch the briefing. Because the extra is previous operations. This is a synopsis of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, the first two entries in the Metal Gear series, which came out in 87 and 90, I believe, is when Metal Gear 2 came out. It's fascinating to me that Metal Gear Solid was part 3 in this series, and it was so unabashedly a sequel. Like, they referenced Big Boss in that cutscene we just saw, with no context. If you haven't played the previous games, you have no clue what that means, that the terrorists want the body of Big Boss. Now, the instruction booklet did, of course, lay out the same information. Back in the day, games came with a instruction booklet, and I remember, like, I read that, like, oh, okay, I you know, everybody did it back then, just like, before, it was kind of like a preface to the game itself, was like reading the booklet to kind of immerse yourself in what was coming with the game itself. So like, I, like, read up on it, and like, okay, so that's what Big Boss is and whatnot. But it's still fascinating to me that this game became as huge as it is, despite being such a sequel. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised, given how groundbreaking this game was in '98. A genre that really hadn't been explored yet. Cinematic storytelling that video games had yet to really use in this scale. The only other one I'd say is like Resident Evil, and like even the first Resident Evil is like really basic compared to MGS. It's only Resident Evil 2 where the cinematicness really started to shine. And of course, I mean, stuff like sequels can't make things explode. Look at Final Fantasy VII. It just had the number 7 in the cover, and that still sold like gangbusters and made a franchise giant. Look at Witcher 3. I mean, people knew about Witcher 1 and 2, but it just didn't break that like mass media appeal. But then Witcher 3 just broke everything and made a gajillion dollars, and so many people played it because it's fantastic. So yeah, I guess it's not that surprising that this game became as huge as it is. So let me just really quickly, we're not going to read these, oops, gotta get used to these Japanese controls. Circle is confirmed, X is back. I'm not going to read these whole synopses. I will just very briefly explain what the plot of the first two games was for those who don't know anything about Metal Gear. So the first Metal Gear, in 1995, a paramilitary-like nation-state rises in Africa, founded by this mysterious mercenary figure, and they appear to be developing a nuclear weapon of some kind, a weapon of mass destruction. A U.S. Special Forces infiltration group, Foxhound, sends its best guy, Gray Fox, to solve the problem, but he gets captured in Outer Heaven. Instead, they send their rookie dude, for some reason, Solid Snake, to check it out. He manages to save Gray Fox, find out that the WMD is a giant robot, a walking tank called Metal Gear. And with the help of the developer of it, Dr. Mandanar, he sabotages it and destroys Metal Gear before it can become active. Also, it turns out that Snake's boss, Big Boss, the leader of Foxhound, is also the mysterious leader of Outer Heaven. It's very poorly justified why this switcheroo happens. It's mainly there just to be like, oh, look, plot twist. The good guy was actually the bad guy. Wow. And Snake beats the tar out of him, leaves him to die as Outer Heaven self-destructs. He escapes. World is saved. Okay. Metal Gear 2, which admittedly I remember the plot a lot worse than I do Metal Gear. Let me see if I can get the really basics of this. I think I really do have to play this game as soon as it comes out on PC, if it ever gets a port, because, it, you know, just so I remember this. Okay, so there's a scientist called Dr. Keo Marv, invents a microorganism that creates, that refines petroleum. Basically, it's like he's going to solve the energy crisis of the world with this, like, magic thing. He gets kidnapped to a place called Zanzibar Land, which is a little weird to me because there is an actual place called Zanzibar, but Zanzibar Land seems to have nothing to do with that place. Anyway, he gets abducted there. Solid Snake is called in again, like, look, you gotta go save this guy. Because, you know... Yes, look at this. Zanzibar Land is apparently in Central Asia, even though the real-life Zanzibar is a pair of islands off the coast of Tanzania, which is in Africa. Okay, whatever. So anyway, so Snake goes into Zanzibar Land. We gotta save this guy, save Oilix. And, oh yeah, Zanzibar Land also has nuclear weapons, because of course they do. So, obviously this is a huge threat. So, alright, Roy Campbell is even mentioned here. Interesting. He's like the boss of Foxhound. He's like, Snake, you need to get in there and stop this nonsense and save Dr. Marv. Okay, so he sneaks in there, and he finds out that the Dr. Petrovich is there. Was it Dr. Petrovich, not Dr. Madnar? Okay. Anyway, he sneaks in there. He finds out that he is making another Metal Gear in Zanzibar Land. So Snake's like, oh, shit. And in another crazy twist, it turns out that Big Boss is still alive, and he's the one now running Zanzibar Land. What the hell? And in another crazy twist, do they mention it here? Yes, here it is. Gray Fox, the top agent of Foxhound from Metal Gear, turns out he is also now with the bad guys. I mean, he never died, but he's now a bad guy. He's teamed up with Big Boss, and he's piloting Metal Gear. So, Snake has to, like, boogie his ass to save Dr. Marv. Does he ever get saved? Oh, no, Marv dies. Oh, God. Does something happen to Oilix? I think Oilix is destroyed because it never comes up. I don't know. It never comes up in the plot of Metal Gear again. I think because they didn't want to address, like, this thing about this magic energy crisis solving thing. I'm 100% not sure. Anyway, so he fails to save Dr. Marv. I guess he gets the Oilix. Yeah, okay, yeah, there it says he escapes with Oilix. Yeah. And then he has to freaking fight Metal Gear, blow Metal Gear up. Gray Fox jumps out and is like, no, let's have a manly duel. And they duel, and he kills Gray Fox. It's very tragic. And then he also kills Big Boss, this time for real. Kinda. Yes, he kills it for real. Yeah. Again. Yeah, real. Yeah, absolute 100%, he's dead. Anyway, so he, like, saves the day. He saves the world, yay. But this was really sucky for Snake, so he's just like, I'm gonna retire. And he disappears into the wilds of Alaska. This doesn't mention what he does. He becomes a sled dog? Like, razor guy, I think. I think that's the thing. And that's the plot of the first two Metal Gears. There you go. Very simple. Much more simple than what the later Metal Gears would be. But then, tragedy strikes, as we found out in that opening video about Shadow Moses Island, and it looks like Snake's gonna have to called in for one more mission. Let's go to the briefing! So this is like a really cool series of, like, setting the story cutscenes. I love these. It's so cool that these are in the game.
It's been a long time, Snake.
I should have known you were behind this, Colonel.
That's no way to greet an old war buddy, Snake.
So that's the same
What do you want from
Colonel
me?
Campbell that was in Metal Gear 2.
So we could have a talk.
Who's...
Fight it? That's what you call sending armed soldiers after me?
Sorry if they were a little rough with you. But we've got a serious situation here. Only you can get us out of it.
I'm retired from fighting.
Oh, he's so dreamy. Look at him, how manly he
I don't have to
is.
take orders from you or anyone else.
You will take these orders. I know it.
Excuse me.
Who's this?
Dr. Naomi Hunter. She's chief of Foxhound's medical staff and an expert in gene therapy.
Are you military?
No, civilian. I've been sent here from ATGC. Pleasure to meet you, Snake.
Oh god, no.
Don't worry. This injection won't hurt a bit.
What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
No, I don't.
Snake,
Okay, it's
listen
gone.
up.
Whew.
It all went down 5 hours
Had to look
ago.
aside there.
Heavily armed soldiers occupied Shadow Moses Island, a remote island off the coast of Alaska.
What soldiers?
Next generation special forces, led by members of Unit Foxhound. They've presented Washington with a single demand, and they say that if it isn't met, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
A nuclear weapon?
I'm afraid so. You see, the island is the site of a secret nuclear weapons disposal facility.
Foxhound hijacking a nuclear weapon?
Now you understand how serious this situation is.
It's kind of smart, actually.
You'll have two missions.
Hitting up a disposal facility before it's disposed, you know?
And the president of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker. They're both being held as hostages.
Those are some heavy-duty hostages.
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike, and stop them if they do. Any questions, Snake?
Questions? I haven't even said whether I'd accept this mission.
Well, you can make up your mind after you hear more about the situation.
I'm sure he's gonna disagree and we can all call it here. Alright. So, that was the mission description. We have a bunch of stuff here to watch still. It's not over yet.
Colonel, I don't work for the government anymore. Let me go back to Twin Lakes.
Why?
Is that a real place in Alaska?
Life in Alaska all that great?
There's a dog sled race this week. Next Saturday, I have to be in Anchorage.
Aw, Snake.
Iditarod, the longest sled race in the world? When did you become a dog musher?
Right now, my 50 huskies are my only family. I've got to take care of
Wow,
them.
50. This guy's so
Don't
cool.
worry about your dogs.
What do you mean?
Also, is he super
Sorry,
naked?
Snake, but this vessel is headed for the Bering Sea. There's no room for debate.
Looks like he doesn't even have underwear
I
on.
told you, even if I do owe you, I don't owe anything to this army or this country.
You will accept this assignment.
Why should I be stupid enough to do that? I'm no patriot.
Snake, there's enough dirt in your file from your days as an agent to keep you in the stockade until you're a very old man.
Oh, I see. Blackmail.
No, Snake. I prefer to look at it as helping you come to a decision more.
Man, Colonel sounds super evil here.
I know you better than that. You take this assignment even without the threat.
Why do you say that?
You're a natural-born soldier. You're not the grow old gracefully type. It's the same for all of us who've seen real action. The only place we can feel truly alive is on the battlefield. I'm a soldier too. I know those feelings of powerlessness, frustration that you feel every day. You've tried to play the Boy Scout out there in Alaska, but you can't race dogs in the snow forever. Why don't you come back to us and be a soldier again?
Phew.
You think my life is some kind of a joke?
Snake, I just want to give you back your purpose in life.
Yeah, man, Colonel is being very heavy there. Oops, oh gosh. Must have hit a button. Alright, this seems to be a little delay here. Alright, let's see. Okay, just takes a moment to... No? Oh, okay, I see I had to hit to the right. I am an idiot. Alright, let's go. Oh, he's got a smoke?
Colonel, who are you speaking for?
How did he get that?
Naturally, I'm representing the U.S. government.
So who's in supervisory control of this operation?
The President of the United States.
Which means that the President must be meeting with his top aides in the map room about now, huh?
No, at this point they're still video conferencing with each other.
If that's a real nuclear warhead, shouldn't they issue a COG?
Not yet. The Secretary of Defense has operational control and is fully aware of the situation. After you infiltrate, if you determine they possess nuclear launch capabilities, a COG will be issued.
Well, if they haven't relocated to the nuclear shelter under Mount Washington, I suppose there isn't that much reason to worry yet. Is the National Security Agency in on this?
Yes. So is the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
They'll be sending us some support.
We don't need desk jockeys. We need a nuclear weapons specialist.
Of course. A nuclear weapons specialist has already been assigned to us.
Man, it's... They, like, hit the gold mine with David Hayter as the voice of Solid Snake. One of those just perfect castings. And he was a relative unknown at the time, Mr. Hader. But he's just so like this, like the tired operative thing that Snake is doing here. But he's also like a really smart guy too. Like he nails that tone so well.
We need backup from a specialist. I'm just an amateur when it comes to nuclear weapons.
I know. That's why I've requested the assistance of a military analyst named Nastasha Romanenko. She'll be providing you backup by Kodak.
A female analyst?
She's built up an impressive
Come on, Snake.
advisor for the nuclear emergency search team. Contact her if you have any questions. She's also an expert on high-tech weapons.
Where's she working from?
At her home in Los Angeles.
California. Seems like 1,000,000 miles away.
No, it would be off the planet if it was 1,000,000 miles, Snake. Don't be silly. So did I hit the wrong video? Oh, it must have been because I hit exit that we got that cutscene right now. I'm really sorry, I hit this in the wrong order, guys.
Tell me about the nuclear weapon disposal facility.
The disposal facility includes a hardened underground base. Even with our most advanced intelligence gathering equipment, we can't tell what's happening inside.
So someone needs to penetrate, gather intelligence, and report back. Sounds like a spy movie. What's the insertion method?
Well, an air insertion is impossible.
Not with this storm going on.
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
Approach?
Yes, within a few miles of it. The facility is equipped with sonar detection capabilities. They'd be able to hear our engine or propeller noise.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
Launch?
Same as a torpedo.
Torpedo?
Only it has no propulsion device of its own. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
You want me to swim in sub-zero Alaskan water?
Don't worry. That suit represents the latest advances in polythermal technology. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by Kodak after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
So as you can see, like, they gave the bare minimum, like, background when we watched the opening cutscene, but this is, like, more elaborate here. To really, like, if you really want to understand everything going on, you can watch all this briefing. And I think it's super nice. And I think it's nice that it's sequestered like this, so it's optional. You know, as you may know, Metal Gear has been criticized for the length of its cutscenes. So, like, for example, all this briefing is at the start of Metal Gear Solid 3, and it's mandatory, and I think it takes like an hour before you actually get to do anything resembling actual gameplay. Yeah.
What's the time limit?
24 hours. They say they'll launch after 24 hours.
Do they say what the target will be?
So far, they haven't mentioned the target.
When did the countdown start?
5 hours ago.
So that's 19 hours. Math. We did it. Alright, that's everything there. Now let's hear about the Colonel. That's Roy Campbell. Is the Colonel.
Colonel, you're retired. Why are you involved in this?
Because there aren't many people who know Foxhound as well as I do.
Is that really the only reason?
I've been soldiering for a long time. I don't know anything else. I guess even though I'm getting a little old, I still love to be in the field.
Colonel, you're a lousy liar. Tell me the real reason.
Okay, Snake. Sorry. I'll be frank. A person very dear to me is being held hostage.
Oh.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
Oh. Well then, that does add up things. Let's learn about this Meryl as well. That might come up on our mission, you know.
What was your niece doing here?
Several soldiers were reported missing the day of the revolt. And my niece was one of those called in as an emergency replacement.
She looks like you.
She's my little brother's girl.
I don't really know
He died in the
if she
Gulf
does,
War.
but yeah.
Since then, I've been watching after her.
A personal motive, Colonel. That's not very soldierly.
I'm retired. I'm just an old man now. And I'm your friend.
Since when are we friends?
I've thought of us as friends since the fall of Zanzibar.
With my personality, I don't have too many friends.
That's what I trust about you. It's what makes you human. Please, Snake. Save my niece, Meryl.
All right. But I have two conditions.
Name them.
1, no more secrets between us. I want complete disclosure at all times. And 2, I'll only accept orders directly from you, Colonel. No cutoffs involved, okay?
Agreed.
Yeah,
That's why I was called.
I'm sure that'll turn out just
One
fine.
thing.
What?
I'm not a colonel anymore. Just a retired old warhorse.
I understand, Colonel.
Once a colonel, always a colonel. Colonel. Alright, let's learn about Dr. Hunter as well, who administered the shot.
That doctor, is she part of this operation too?
She was in charge of Foxhound's gene therapy. She knows more about those men than anyone else.
You mean you've seen them naked?
Make no mistake, I'm not a nurse. I'm a scientist.
What a strange thing to fixate on, Snake.
It's a combination of nanomachines and an anti-freezing peptide so that your blood and other bodily fluids don't freeze, even at subarctic temperatures.
Nanomachines?
Not just one kind, either. There are different types which will replenish the supply of adrenaline, nutrition, and sugar in your bloodstream.
Now I don't have to worry about food.
I also put some nootropics in there.
Say what?
Nootropics. A class of drugs which will help improve your mental functioning.
It'll make me smarter, huh? Anything else?
Yes. Benzedrine. It's a type of stimulant. It'll keep you alert and responsive for 12 straight hours.
Holy shit.
That was quite a cocktail. Anything else in there?
Those nanomachines will also keep your Codex batteries charged up.
I guess I can call you when I'm ready to go on a diet.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I do believe that's the first time in this franchise that nanomachines are mentioned. They are a bit of a meme in this series. Again, for people who don't know, nanomachines come up way more in later parts of the series. Let's learn about the hostages.
The chief of DARPA and the president of an arms manufacturing company. What business did they have at a nuclear weapons disposal facility?
The truth is that secret exercises were being conducted at the time the terrorist group attacked.
Must be extremely important exercises if those two were directly involved. Were they testing some kind of new advanced weapon?
I'm not privy to that information.
No, of course
Know
not.
exactly where they're being
Why would you think that, Snake?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini transmitter. As you get closer, you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
Yeah, that's true. You can, like, see them on the radar. It's kind of a weird little detail about this game. Sure. So what's this deal with nuclear weapons? Oh yeah, I guess because it's a disposal facility. Yeah.
Do they really have the ability to launch a nuclear missile?
They say they do. They even gave us the serial number of the warhead they plan to use.
Was the number confirmed?
I'm afraid so. At the very least, they've got their hands on a real nuclear warhead.
Isn't there some kind of safety device to prevent this type of terrorism?
Yes. Every missile and warhead in our arsenal is equipped with a PAL, which uses a discrete detonation code.
PAL.
Permissive Action Link. The safety control system built into all nuclear weapons systems. But even so, we can't rest easy.
Why not?
Because the DARPA chief knows the detonation code.
But even if they have a nuclear warhead, it must have been removed from its missile. All the missiles on these disposal sites are supposed to be dismantled. It's not that easy to get your hands on an ICBM.
That used to be true. But since the end of the Cold War, you can get anything if you have enough money and the right connections.
So the implication is that the terrorists bought the shell of a nuclear missile and they simply had to get the warhead to fix it onto it. Alright, then what else have these terrorists got rocking?
How How well armed are these terrorists? I know there was an exercise going on at the time they revolted.
They're heavily armed, I'm afraid.
What about their battle experience?
The 6 members of Foxhound in charge are all hardened veterans. They're tough enough to eat nails and ask for seconds.
I
Delicious.
wouldn't expect anything less from Foxhound.
The others are next-generation special forces. They're not your average grunts either.
Okay, good talk. I guess that's all we need to know. No, tell me some more about these. Let's start with their demands. Why Big Boss?
So what exactly are they demanding?
A person's remains.
Remains?
That's right. To be more accurate, cell specimens which contain the individual's genomic information.
Cell specimens? Why would they want that?
The terrorists need them. You see, these next-generation special forces have been strengthened through gene therapy.
Strengthened?
You've heard of the Human Genome Project. They've been mapping the human genome, and they're nearly finished. Following up on this research, the military has been working towards identifying those genes which are responsible for making effective soldiers.
There are genes that do that?
Yes. And using gene therapy, they're able to transplant those genes into regular soldiers.
Gene therapy?
Thus making better soldiers.
I'll explain this part. With gene therapy, we can remove those genes which we know may lead to sickness or disease, and at the same time splice in genes with beneficial effects, such as resistance to cancer, for example.
In other words, we can overcome all sorts of genetic diseases, and at the same time add genetic characteristics as desired.
Okay. And so if you knew what genes were responsible for making the perfect soldier, you could implant them in the same way, right?
Yes, we could.
But it all depends on being able to isolate and identify those soldier genes.
And in order to do that, it's helpful if you can study the genomic information of one of the greatest soldiers ever.
Which of course brings up BB, Big Boss. Let's see if they name drop it here, because they didn't do it yet there.
One of the greatest soldiers ever?
The man they call the greatest warrior of the 20th century.
You don't mean Big Boss.
That's right. We've been working feverishly to identify the genes responsible for his incredible combat skill. So far, we've discovered about 60 of the so-called soldier genes.
So his body was recovered after all.
Yes, and his cells have remained frozen in a cryo chamber. His genomic information is a priceless treasure to mankind.
Priceless to the military, perhaps.
His body was burned severely, but it was possible to restore his DNA profile from just a single strand of his hair.
You people are amazing. And then you're gonna transplant those genes into soldiers?
Yes. We'll use a process that I discovered called gene targeting. The strongest soldiers don't become what they are by acquiring their skills through training or experience.
Really now?
We now know that hereditary factors are far more crucial for creating superior soldiers.
Snake, we can't give them his body. It's potentially more dangerous than all the nuclear warheads on that island put together.
I hear the terrorists are calling themselves the Sons of Big Boss.
The Sons of Big Boss?
It's kind of interesting that they explain why they need Big Boss's body here in these briefings, because otherwise it's kind of left as like a mystery. They don't really address it for a long while until close to the end of the game, why exactly they need Big Boss's body. But they actually call it out fairly well here, or at least call out an explanation right here, which is very interesting. Also, some of you may notice the little problem that the greatest soldier in the world was killed by the guy we're about to play as, so I guess there are better genes out there? Anyway, let's get in and learn about these next-gen special forces.
These next-generation special forces.
They started out as an anti-terrorist special ops unit, made up of former members of biochem units, technical escort units, and the nuclear emergency surge team. Their purpose was to respond to threats involving next-generation weapons of mass destruction, including NBC weapons.
Until they were added, that is.
Who's they?
These guys didn't start out as regular army.
Looks like a pretty international group. Mercenaries?
Yeah, and it gets worse. Most of them were from a merc agency that I think you're familiar with. They were part of Big Boss's private guard.
Oh dear.
And after Big Boss went down, the military just bought out all their contracts.
Outer heaven.
After that, they were merged with our own VR unit, Force 21, and retrained. If you ask me, these so-called next-generation special forces should be called simulated soldiers. They have no real battle experience.
Video game players, huh?
Don't forget they've all been strengthened with gene therapy. They carry genes which make them excellent soldiers. Don't get careless just because they don't have much experience.
I thought using genetically modified soldiers was prohibited by international law.
Yes, but those are just declarations, not actual treaties.
Yeah, who the hell actually follows those? Like when in like all this clandestine cloak and dagger bullshit. It's unfortunately something that gets skirted quite a bit. Alright, the reason for unanimous approval. What? Of what? Huh?
How could an entire unit be subverted to rebellion?
Oh, good
They're
question.
calling it a revolution.
Since they all went through the same gene therapy, they probably felt closer than brothers. They see the unit as their only family.
The sons of Big Boss. But if they were regular army, they must have been interviewed periodically by army counselors.
According to their files, they all got straight A's on their psychological tests. They all seemed like fine, upstanding, patriotic soldiers.
A
But they all
for
took
asshole.
uprising.
No, several people didn't show up on the day of the exercise. That's why there was a resupply of troops.
Was there any sign recently that something might be wrong?
There was a report a month ago that they were acting strangely.
Apparently they consulted classified information about the soldier genes and performed their own gene therapy experiments.
They can do that even without you?
Well, our gene therapy process is almost completely automated. And besides that, they're all geniuses with IQs over 180.
Jesus.
Even the existence of this genome army is a national secret of the highest order. We've been hoping to investigate this thing quietly and deal with it behind closed doors.
I love that we haven't even gotten into the real game yet, and they're already laying us heavy with this, like, criticism of the military-industrial complex with all of this clandestine, international law-breaking stuff that is seriously turning into a messed-up situation, has really come to bite the US on its ass. They're not subtle, but I think it's pretty cool. Let's learn finally about the leader of this this insurrection group, Foxhound. Let's see if we get that funny roll call again.
High-tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of. An elite group combining firepower and expertise. They're every bit as good as when I was commanding them.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities.
Oh, here we go.
Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus.
Oh, wow.
Master
I forgot
of
that they show his
disguise.
face.
Vulcan Raven, Giant and Shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter.
Looks like a lovely bunch of folks.
And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
Yes. And you're the only person who can stand against him.
Sick. Does he get his own little thing here? He does, because this guy's so damn cool.
Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake!
Man with the same codename as you.
Tell me what you know.
He fought in the Gulf War as a teenager, the youngest person in the SAS. His job was to track down and destroy mobile Scud missile launching platforms. You were there too, I believe. Didn't you infiltrate Western Iraq with a platoon of Green Berets?
I was just a kid myself back then.
The details are classified, but it seems that originally he penetrated the Middle East as a sleeper for the SIS.
He was a spy for the British Secret Intelligence Service?
But he never once showed his face in Century House. He was taken prisoner in Iraq, And after that, there was no trace of him for several years. After you retired, he was rescued and became a member of Foxhound.
I thought that by the time I left, they were no longer using code names.
I don't know his real name. That information is so highly classified that even I can't look at it. Here's a photo of him. Pretty shocking, huh? His skin tone is different, but otherwise you two are exact duplicates.
And the same code name.
I have a twin?
I don't know the details, but it seems so.
What a weird coincidence.
We need you for this mission.
You're the only one who can beat him. Now that I've met you, I know. You've got something that he doesn't. I can see it in your eyes.
Why don't I find that thought more comforting?
Also, I do believe there was some time in the late 80s for this Liquid Snake to have been doing a little funny business in Southern Africa, but you'll have to play a different Metal Gear to understand what the hell I'm talking about there. Alright, that's all of the briefing. Let's close it out. We already saw this cutscene because I pressed this button like an idiot.
I need to borrow your scissors.
Oh no, we didn't see
What are you
this.
going to do?
Don't worry, just gonna clean myself up a little.
Huh?
I don't want to be mistaken for the leader of the terrorists.
Oh man, there was one more secret. So he did agree on the mission. Of course he agreed on the freaking mission. Come on. And honestly, disguising yourself as the leader of the terrorists could have been useful, you know, in this infiltration mission. But there you go. That's all you need to know, guys, to get into this game. So, let's freaking get started with very easy. Now let's go normal. I think I can do it on normal. Again, David Hayter, yes! Again, that freaking 1998 water effect. It's a bit bleh, but also pretty fun. Well, you know he's a terrorist. He's wearing a ski mask. Although I guess, you know, I guess actual skiers also use ski masks. Yeah.
I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
Snake can't be compromised yet, can he? That guy couldn't be talking about Snake. Nah. There must be somebody else coming through here, or something. Oh, what a MacGyver mullet on that man.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85.
Remember that.
When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small...
I think that's select on a PlayStation controller.
Be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now we are in the game at last. Goodness. Alright. Let's see if I still remember how to do this. That's punch. It's first person look. This does nothing at the moment except jiggle. Have some items, but not a lot. We got... Ooh. Whoa. We got cigarettes, Solid Snake's favorite brand. Smoking is hazardous to your health. And magnifying scope. Press action key to zoom in, crawl key to zoom out. We can also do a little bit of this sneaky, crawly. Let's quickly go dipping into the water. We have an oxygen gauge, because you may have noticed a little ration to pick up there. Was there more treasure to pick up? There may have been. Although I don't remember. Maybe we have to crawl in from the other side to get to that. Maybe? no swimming mechanics yet. That would be in a later Metal Gear. The next one, actually. Alright, so to get through here, I'm gonna have to crawl. Ooh, actually, let's back up really quickly because, as we saw, there's a guy patrolling over there. And I want to quickly have a look-see. Yep, so you can press against walls, the camera will switch, so you can get a nice look around. I do not want to get into this guy's scope. So, on the map up there, you can see the Soliton radar. The enemy's field of view is that blue cone. The enemy himself is that red dot. So, we don't want to get caught there. Oh, call.
Snake, you have to crawl to get through there. First, crouch down by pressing the crawl button, and then use the directional button to crawl in the direction you want.
Be careful, though. Crawling is slow and you can't attack when you're doing it either.
You can stand up by pressing the crawl button again.
So that's because I took too long, like, hanging out over here. They politely call you to tell you how to get progress forward here if you can't figure it out. I was just waiting for these guards to clear away a little bit. I think we can go now. So let's go. Now we're gonna see how fucking shitty I am at this game, or possibly not shitty, because the question is, can I do this? This is basically a little tutorial area, but there is a very real chance that we get into a fight. So the goal is, can we avoid being detected by these guards while we're in this tutorial area? I don't know. I usually get busted on this because I'm bad. And also, for example, notice this puddle of water over here. You walk over that and you will leave a trail of wet footprints that the enemies can stop and notice and follow you. Okay, shit gets tricky. Now our ride is here. It's that elevator. But there's now 3 guards here. So can we pull this off? Well, first of all, we can distract the guy. Like so. He's like, what was that noise? Now he hurries to check it out. Oh god, he heard me running? Uh-oh. Well, fortunately, sound can sometimes help us out. Yes! Whew! Did the first area without getting caught. Feels good. We're on a track to get Big Boss rank, which, if you don't know, is the best rank you can get at the end of the game. You are allowed to only get busted 4 times, which in practice actually means you're not allowed to get busted at all, as I'll explain later. I am not gonna go for that. I was just kidding, guys. But like, I'm happy to say I got through the tutorial area without getting caught. Mostly because I hung out in that early area first. Oh, look at that handsome devil, Solid Snake. You have to understand, people, this was, like I said, groundbreaking. This, like, camera work, this framing, everything, like, video games. This with Resident Evil, like I mentioned, Final Fantasy VII, this was when, like, video games really, like, the presentation, beyond just graphical fidelity, like, they, like, went above and beyond in presentation. This is an incredible, like, landmark in games. You have to believe me, guys. I know it looks a bit dated now. I love it, of course, but... Shadow Moses.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake.
Excellent.
Slow you down 1 bit.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
Take it easy, I'm grateful. If it weren't for your suit and your shot, I would have turned into a popsicle out there.
An anti-freezing peptide, Snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
Oh, good. Maybe they'll just blow these guys away. Ooh, a Hind D.
Hind D?
A Hind D.
Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
I have no idea, but it looks like our little diversion got their attention. Now's your best chance to slip in unnoticed.
Flying a helicopter in a snowstorm against a pair of jets. That guy has to be out of his mind. We don't have anything to worry about with these terrorists. They're a bunch of morons.
There are only 18 hours left until their deadline. You've got to hurry.
Wow, you must be crazy to fly a hind in this kind of weather.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry. I haven't introduced you to yet. This is Mei Ling. She was assigned to us as our visual and data processing specialist. She designed your codec, as well as your soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
You're just flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
Come on. I can't believe I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake. But I'm surprised. You're very frank for a trained killer.
Yeah.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to learning about the man behind the legend. But first, let me explain about your soliton radar system.
Sure. Hit me up with
The white
that.
dot in the middle is you, Snake. The red dots are your enemies, and the blue cone shape represents their field of vision.
Right.
Be careful, Snake. The genome soldiers have highly developed senses of hearing and vision due to their gene therapy. Make sure you don't let them see you.
First, I want you to infiltrate the disposal site and look for the DARPA chief.
The DARPA chief was injected with the same GPS transmitting nanomachines as you. He should appear on your radar as a green dot.
All right.
Get whatever information you can from him about the terrorists. If he's alive, that is.
We'll keep our eyes open.
Snake, your radar isn't affected by the weather, but if you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it.
Oh yeah, that's good to know.
Yes, it gets jammed easily, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's all made from currently existing technology. You won't be able to use it in an area with strong harmonic resonance, so be careful.
We'll be monitoring your movements by radar, so contact us by codec anytime you want.
Got it. I'll call if I'm feeling lonely.
Seriously, Snake, we're here to back you up, so call if you need some information or advice. I'm also in charge of your mission data. Contact me if you want me to record your current status. My frequency is 140.96. It's a dedicated frequency for saving data. Don't forget it.
Remember, except for your binoculars, you're naked. You need to arm yourself with whatever weapons you can find.
I remember. First, I'm strip searched by Dr. Naomi here, and then all my weapons are taken away. Imagine yourself put in that position.
Well, if you make it back in one piece, maybe I'll let you do a strip search on me.
Oh my god, all this sexual tension, you
By
people.
the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.
So he freaking mama birded those smokes out of his mouth. Disgusting.
If you want to get in, there's the front door.
Let's get those
It's the
scopes.
fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
I can't just knock on the door and ask them to let me in. There's one sentry on the left and one on the right. They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
Yeah, FAMAS. I use that gun all the time in Call of Duty Warzone, precisely because it's in this game.
What about the air duct near the door? There should also be a duct on the second floor.
I can't see it from here.
I'll let you decide the best COA. I'm counting on you, Snake.
Alright, and now we're in the game. So as you heard, there's multiple options for entry. Main door, bottom event, top event. Everyone I know always takes the top event, and that's what I'm gonna go for as well. We'll see how it goes. Before we do that, let's indeed make a couple of quick calls. This is a staple of the Metal Gear Solid series, is calling up your team. We're gonna get way more as this as we continue, we're going to get way more people to call in this adventure, and they'll provide us with various advice as we ring them up. So let's just really quickly, I'm not going to do this all the time because it would really eat up with our recording time, but let's get a couple of calls in now just to show how this works. Campbell!
Snake, just to make sure, let's review how to use the codec system.
Sure.
Snake, if you want to send a transmission, first press the select button. That will put you in codec mode. When you're at the codec screen, press the right or left directional button to change the frequency.
Yes.
Then press up on the directional button, or press the circle button to transmit at that frequency. The codec also automatically stores the frequencies of the people you've spoken to. To open the memory window, press down on the directional button at the codec screen. The memory window will show a list of all the frequencies. All you have to do is select the frequency you want and press the circle button to transmit. If you want to switch back to the normal codec mode, just press the select or X button.
Fair enough. Also, if you're wondering, the codec is a tiny implant in Snake's inner ear, which also apparently somehow freezes time, since you can call up people in the middle of like a firefight or something and chat up with them. But anyway, how he's able to just call people, he's got a tiny little transmitter in his inner ear that he can somehow manipulate. Don't worry too much about it. Let's call up Mei Ling to save the game real quick. Ooh, this is weird looking. This looks very different.
Snake, remember what the Gaul said. The graveyards are full of indispensable men. Snake, you're all alone and surrounded by bad guys. Try to be careful and avoid getting into a fight whenever you can.
You're right. Wow, you know all sorts of great quotes, don't you?
Well, both my parents are from Guangdong, China, but I was born and raised in America. I've always liked reading literature from both sides. Kinda keeps me in touch. I'll share some more quotes with you if you like.
I'm looking forward to it. But to tell you the truth, I'd like to learn more about...
Oh my god, Snake!
Well, I'll think about it.
You haven't even begun the mission in earnest. Get a hold of yourself. Anyway, yeah, so Mei Ling will provide us with interesting quotes whenever we call her. So I'm going to try to, at the end of every recording session, give her a ring so we can enjoy those at least. And Campbell, he actually provides really solid advice on where to go next in the game or what to do next. I was rather pleasantly surprised when playing with my nephew to notice that the advice he gives is actually pretty good. Go straight to the point and really well explains what to do. Like, if you get stuck in this game being like, I don't know what to do, calling the Colonel is usually a really good bet. And maybe some other people who will later become options to call. Yeah, that's really cool. It's nice that it's such an unintrusive hint system. I really appreciate it. So let's get with this operation. First of all, there's a nice box right in the middle there. As you can see, there's some searchlights. Should I get my first getting busted by trying to run across that? Boy. You know, it's going to happen eventually to me. You know, because I suck at video games, so... Whew, we got some chaff grenades. Chaff grenades disable electronics. Press weapon to pull the pin. Release to throw. I believe weapon is square, because I think circle's just a regular little punch thing. So there you go. Now what is this cone over here? Let's see if we can go have a look. Although try not to walk into it. Walking into cones, generally bad.
Surveillance camera?
A surveillance camera. So, if you watched me play the original Metal Gear on New Year's, I got busted by these things a million bajillion times. One of those was because I'm used to Metal Gear Solid rules, which is that the camera has a blind spot. Well, let's see if we can call Colonel and he'll explain to us about these. Let's see.
Watch out for that surveillance camera. You can probably jam it temporarily with your chaff.
Oh, right, indeed. This one, I don't know if we can even run under its blind spot. It's like there's that box in the way, so I guess this is more of a chaff tutorial. But the other thing is, you can, in fact, avoid cameras by going under them, under their blind spot. Let's us give this a go. That's the punch. Let's hope this doesn't set off the bad guys. No. So chaff jams electronics. So for example, cameras, we can just do that. Unfortunately, also jams our camera. So we're just gonna wait here for a little hot second, let that camera thing go off. There we go. What do we get from there? We got some stun grenades. These one will put enemies down. In this game, I advised my nephew wrongly. There's no, like, you can't knock enemies out permanently. So that one just, like, puts them down. In this game, that the stun grenade just puts them down on the ground for, like, a little while. So that sleepy git is over there, and he's got a camera of his own, right, watching him. Oh, there's a guard over there. Let's hop over here into this truck. Perfect. We got an actual weapon, the SOCOM pistol. Let's see, I don't remember if Colonel will tell us about this. Let's give a call real quick.
Good. You've got yourself a weapon. To use it, first hold down the R2 button to enter weapon mode. Then select the weapon you want with the directional button. After you've selected the weapon you want, let go of the R2 button to exit weapon mode. The weapon you selected should appear in your hand. To use the weapon, follow the directions displayed in the window. If you use the R1 button, you can equip your weapon more quickly. While you're barehanded, press the R1 button to equip the last weapon you used. Press the R1 button while you're holding a weapon to be barehanded again. Don't fire your gun needlessly, or you might be discovered. If you had a gun with a suppressor, it would be a different story. If you have any questions about weapons or equipment, you should ask our military analyst, Nastasha. Her frequency is 141.52.
Well, let's call her right away since we got her number. It's not here yet? Okay, so we get to test out this right here. Might as well get her on the... Oops, that's the wrong one. 152. Here we go. Hello.
This is Nastasha Romanenko. A pleasure to work with you, Solid Snake.
You're the nuclear specialist that the Colonel mentioned?
That's me. You can ask me anything about nukes that you want. I am also a military analyst, so I have an extensive knowledge of weapon systems as well. They asked me to participate in this operation as a supervisor from the Nuclear Emergency Search Team. I was happy to accept. We must not allow terrorists to get their hands on nuclear weapons of any kind. I hope I can help you to stop them.
You're a tough lady.
Those terrorists are serious about launching a nuclear weapon? The world cannot stand by idly and allow that to happen, and neither can I. Unfortunately, all I can do from here is provide you with information.
Hopefully that'll be enough. Another soldier here wouldn't make a difference anyway. It's good to work with you, Nastasha.
Same here, Snake.
Aw, nice of Snake to talk professionally to one of these ladies on the op. Let's call her again to see if she talks about the SOCOM. Although there's a 50-50 she'll just talk about nukes. That was a bit of a meme, again, when we were playing this earlier. I realized that half of her dialogue just seems to be going on about nukes. Fair enough, it's her life and job and everything. Let's see if she talks about the SOCOM.
Good. You found a SOCOM. That's a Special Operations Command pistol.
Operations.
It's a 45 caliber pistol with plenty of stopping power. It's also equipped with a LAM for nighttime combat. If you hold down the weapon button, you can train the laser sight on the enemy to help you aim. If you find a SOCOM suppressor, you can equip that too. That pistol was designed specifically for use by special forces, so I think it will be useful. Some people find it a little heavy and hard to use, but it shouldn't be a problem for you.
I'm a heavy and hard man, Nastasha. Yeah, so we can always call Nastasha for weapon trivia if we feel like it. I think she can talk about all of these. She can explain how chaff works, which I don't think is a real thing, but in this game it's a thing for disabling electronics, so we can call her up. And indeed, I guess I didn't talk about this. By hitting R2, or weapon inventory button, it's funny because the dialogue's from the PlayStation and they haven't updated it for the PC version, so they've only changed the text, but the dialogue still talks about, the recorded dialogue still talks about PlayStation button prompts. I don't hate it. I think it's fun. Anyway, on the PlayStation controller, you hit R2 and you get like this inventory you can scroll for weapons. Likewise, if you hit L2, you can scroll through your gear. For example, if we have rations on like this, if we hit 0 HP while this is equipped, we'll auto use it to gain health back. we can, of course, use it here in the menu as well. Oh, this doesn't mention that. Oh, maybe that was a later Metal Gear? I feel like in this one as well, if you have the ration on, it'll be auto-used. Maybe that was in a later Metal Gear. Maybe I'm just being crazy. I don't know. Anyway, indeed, you can hit L1 to de-equip, and R1 to de-equip the weapon, which will have some utility with a couple of weapons later in the game. There's a couple of weapons which, when you have them equipped, you're like stuck in like a certain mode, and if you need to quickly move, you need to hit that to then like move away yourself. So it's good to know that that option is there. I'm a little worried because this guard is walking around right over there. Also, remember there was a second truck here. In some version, you get the FAMAS over here. Might be on easier difficulties though. Maybe, I don't know. Ooh, let's hide out because this guard is... Let's get behind this box, actually. If he walks in front of this truck, he might spot me. Okay, I think it's safe. Hold on, I'm gonna check his movements. Okay, he's going that way. Now remember, we do have to watch, once we walk on snowy ground, we are gonna have to watch our steps. Just like the... See, look at that. They do disappear in this heavy snowfall. But just like the puddles of water, we gotta watch for those. I'm a little worried about this guy over here. Is he gonna spot these footsteps? No.
Whose footprints are these?
Oh, how did he spot that? I don't know. I'll let the camera not spot me. Uh-oh, gotta get behind this box. Yeah, they apparently have heightened sight and hearing, but they're afflicted by terrible tunnel vision, so they can't see beyond that tiny view cone, which is fine with me. See? Camera blind spot used. Well done. Now, I think there's another guard up here, so I'm gonna play it carefully still. Yeah, I can't really demo the use of the gun yet, because as they mentioned, it makes a bunch of noise when you use it. That's bad. Is there not a guard up here? There's a guard up here. Look at that. So we're gonna back over here for a hot second. Watch what this guard does. I think the thing we want to crawl through is in the dead center, maybe? Also, I should probably at some point test out which button is to choke a guy. Because that might come in handy. I kind of want to at least get inside the base before I let myself get caught. Because I'm sure I'll misclick and get caught. Also, wow, this tension here. Oh, I thought he caught me. He was just sneezing. Man, the tension here. Like, that guy was, like, so close to me. I'm gonna crawl just so he can't hear me. And also he can't see from behind this point here. Because some floors are noisy. Apparently not this one. Oh, hello.
That base must have some kind of ventilation system to recirculate the air. There should be air ducts around there somewhere. They must need a lot of power to run the base. There's probably a diesel generator somewhere. And since generating electricity requires oxygen, there must be exhaust openings for that too. You're not gonna believe this, but they shot down the F-16s we were using as a diversion with a Hind D.
Holy shit.
Then we got a message from Liquid. He said if we try something like that again, he'll launch the nuke. Snake, hurry up and get in there. That Hind will be coming back soon.
Oh, damn. Yeah, let's boogie. I take back everything I said. A dude takes a helicopter out in a snowstorm and takes down 2 jets. Even if they are, you know, F-16s that aren't the newest jet on the block. That takes some skill. Alright, I found the vent, so here we go. I'm not gonna go bother that guy any further. Gonna see, maybe in the next area I'll give it a test, see if I can figure out what the choke button is. So that's a silent way of taking down an enemy, is grabbing them and choking them out.